Occasionally I want to replay a game very close to my heart, the original Ratchet and Clank from 2002. This game came with my PlayStation 2, which was also my first console, and I played it to absolute death. I must have played through New Game Plus about 8 times before the sequel was finally released, and then I started playing that to death instead. There are a few moments I found particularly difficult when I was younger. I remember getting to Blarg Station and finding the whole level so difficult. It was like the first real step up in difficulty. The frogs always got me because I tried to take them out with the wrench, whereas I probably should have used the pyrocenter. The first boss fight of the game is here as well, the Alien Queen. There's a skill point for beating her with the wrench only, and I actually found it too hard to beat her with weapons, so I ended up getting the skill point for beating her with only the wrench by accident. I was more used to playing PS1 era 3D platformers like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, so guns were a new novelty to 10-year-old me. The next difficult spot for me was Orkson as Ratchet. I thought this level was impossible because of these crab-like creatures. You're obviously meant to take them out from afar with the Devastator, but for some reason I couldn't get very far in the level. I was probably still trying to use the wrench or something. To get past Orkson, I did what any sane person would do. I grinded for bolts like a madman and saved up for the Rhino. The patience I must have had to do this. It wasn't until much later I actually beat that level and the entire game without the Rhino. The Rhino trivialises the game and makes it really quite easy, but I was bad at video games at the time and I really must have worked for it. One of the fun extras to do in this game is hunting down the gold bolts. They're hidden away in levels and sometimes require a bit of searching around. But as a kid, I could not find a single one. So I just looked at the locations like a cheater. And I really wish I could go back to not knowing where these gold bolts are and hunt them down for the first time over again. But these are all just nostalgic memories. When I come back to actually play this game, it's really not much like what I remember. For one, it's not nearly as hard as I thought at the time. However, it is quite an old game now, and it's kind of clunky and frustrating. Some things are just mildly annoying, like if you throw your wrench, you're stuck in that position until it returns. There's no way of strafing unless you're using the thruster pack, so often you end up blindly shooting and hoping for the best. Using your quick select wheel doesn't pause the gameplay, so even switching out weapons leaves you vulnerable to attack. But then there's the real frustration of having to replay sections of the game when you die. Because of my familiarity with this game, I often find myself rushing or trying to do silly little challenges, but that ends up with me dying, and then I have to replay long, tedious sections of the game. This is not a game that's designed to be rushed. You often have to slow down to complete puzzles, take out enemies, or do some precision platforming. You basically get punished for trying to rush through. But the most miserable experience of this game has to be Old Tannis. One path through this level has these long, twisting Magnaboot sections, which require difficult, precise movement. Otherwise, you'll fall off and die and have to do it all over again from the beginning. This is terrible. It's slow, and it's difficult for all the wrong reasons. It's just boring and tedious, and I just ended up giving up. Whatever's at the end here isn't required for the game, and it's not worth it. Every time I decide to relive my childhood and play some Ratchet and Clank, I feel like I just can't get into it anymore. I end up playing once, then giving up until the next time I did another hit of nostalgia. A lot of the problems with this game are addressed in the second and third games, so they make for a much more enjoyable experience, but still, nothing is as close to my childhood as that original Ratchet and Clank. Maybe it's best just left to memory. I can still enjoy the soundtrack though.